Hi, this is Lane 8492. This is one of two true crime stories I'm doing today. This one was on a case up in Bellevue, Idaho. It seemed like what might have been a perfect happy family. It was of a couple, Alan and Diane Johnson. Of course, they had two kids, a son, Matthew Johnson. Of course, he'd moved on to college and he was a good person. And they had a 16-year-old daughter named Sarah Marie Johnson, who appeared to be daddy's little princess. Of course, she had disputes with her mother. They seemed like they were an all American family that was living well. But at 16, that would change because it was on slightly before Labor Day in 2003 on a Sunday morning. Alan and Diane Johnson were murdered. The police were investigating after a hysterical call came from Sarah Marie Johnson. But it wouldn't take that long to find out what the first clue would be that led to it. As it turned out, I saw this on Deadly Women's Lethal Vengeance and saw a little bit of this on Investigation Discoveries 2020 on Teen Interrupted. This would be the first clue that would find out what really happened. It turned out 16-year-old Sarah Marie Johnson, she was daddy's little princess, and she was in the volleyball team and even on the debate team. As it turned out, 16-year-old Sarah Marie Johnson had fallen for a 19-year-old boy her parents didn't like or even approve of. His name was Bruno Santos, an illegal immigrant from Mexico who was a high school dropout and was selling drugs. And not only did her parents not approve of him, they felt he was not right for her because he was in the country illegally and he did nothing good with his life. He dropped out of high school and was running drugs and was getting in trouble with the law. And she would get into an argument a lot with her parents. One time, from what I saw on the Investigation Discoveries 2020, that Diane Johnson had slapped her and Sarah in the face for being disrespectful, and she fought back, and Alan had to break it up. But then would come what made Alan extremely furious and shocked and appalled. He found out that 16-year-old Sarah Marie Johnson had spent the night with 19-year-old Bruno Santos at his apartment behind his back when she said she was spending the night with a friend. And when he found out, he went over to Bruno's apartment to retrieve her, and he got into an argument with Bruno Santos, telling him not to come anywhere near Sarah or he'll call the police and have him arrested for statutory rape. Because apparently Sarah was 16 and is considered a minor, and Bruno Santos was 19 and considered legally an adult. And of course, after Alan and Diane Johnson were murdered, of course, when Sarah was brought back to her house, she got her privileges taken and was grounded. And she decided she was going to get revenge for it. And of course, there was a cottage on her parents' apartment that was rented by a tenant. But of course, that tenant was out of town in Boise, Idaho, and his alibi checked out. So she went into that cottage rented by the tenant and took his bolt-action rifle. And there, Sarah Marie Johnson first shot her mother, Diane Johnson, while she was asleep. And then she shot her father, Alan, while he was taking a shower. They first thought Bruno Santos was the perpetrator, but they interviewed him, and as it turned out, he was asleep at his apartment when it happened. And the police could find no evidence to link Bruno Santos to the crime. After what they saw in the hairs and all the evidence, it matched that of Sarah Marie Johnson, and of course she was arrested. And she went on trial for the murder of her parents. And she was found guilty and given life imprisonment with no chance of parole. Her sentence has been upheld and her appeals have been denied. And she's currently serving her life sentence without parole in the Idaho Women's Prison in Pocatello. As for Bruno Santos, his journey wouldn't end well either. He would later be arrested and Bruno Santos would later be arrested and convicted of delivery of cocaine and sent to prison. And when he was released, he was deported back to Mexico. And I guess the inheritance went to their son, Matthew Johnson, who was in college at the time when it happened. It just goes to show that parents love their children and want what's best for them, and they could tell when a person is not right for their son or daughter. I mean, as teenagers, we all have arguments and get into arguments with our parents, but we phase out of it. They phase out of it and they go on to live good lives. But I guess that wasn't the case with Sarah Marie Johnson. She was extremely angry and has not shown any remorse for what she did. Well, hope you enjoy this video and let me know what you think. Thanks.